Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take a whole stack of sources, articles, research, you name it, and we really boil it down to get you well-informed and fast.
And today we're tackling something huge, artificial intelligence.
Yeah, AI. I mean, it's already changing so much, right? The apps on your phone, how science gets done, it's everywhere.
It really is. But today we're asking, what happens when a major global power really commits? Decides they're going to win the global AI race, basically, no matter what.
That's the core question. And our mission today is to unpack a really significant document. It's called America's AI Action Plan. Came out just last month, July 2025, from the White House.
And this isn't just like some high-level vision statement. It's presented as a detailed, pretty comprehensive roadmap.
Exactly. It lays out how the U.S. government plans to achieve and then maintain global dominance in AI.
And the context here is key. This plan comes under the 45th and 47th President, Donald J. Trump. It explicitly frames AI not just as tech, but as a, quote, new frontier of scientific discovery.
A new frontier.
Yeah, with the potential to totally reshape global power dynamics, kickstart whole new industries, revolutionize life and work. I mean, the document is very clear from the get-go. AI leadership is a national security imperative, full stop.
Wow. Okay, so it's laying out a strategy not just to participate, but to actually lead and secure America's position.
That's the core message. It's about shaping the future landscape.
No.
The grand vision, laying the foundation for global AI dominance.
Okay, that definitely sets an intense stage. Let's dig into this grand vision laid out in the plan. The first thing that really jumps out at me is right there at the start. The United States is in a race to achieve global dominance in artificial intelligence.
Yeah, race is the key word. It's not about participation trophies here.
Right, it's about winning.
And what's fascinating is how clearly they define the stakes. The document basically says whoever builds the biggest AI ecosystem gets to set global AI standards and reap broad economic and military benefits.
So it's not just about having the best tech.
No, it's about influence. It's about control over the future. If you set the standards, you're essentially writing the rules of the game for everybody else. That's huge.
And that echoes President Trump's quote, right?
Yeah.
It's in the document, calling AI a national security imperative for achieving, quote, unquestioned and unchallenged global technological dominance.
Exactly. He even makes that direct comparison. Just like we won the space race, it is imperative that the United States and its allies win this race.
That really shames the urgency, doesn't it? Puts it in historical context. And this whole plan, it stems from Executive Order 14179, removing barriers to American leadership in artificial intelligence. So it's a direct mandate.
It is. It positions AI as the next big arena for national competition. And underpinning all of this is the idea that tech leadership directly translates into geopolitical power and economic prosperity. It's not just about business, it's deeply tied to national security, global standing.
Okay, so if it's a race, what's the prize? What's the finish line look like according to this plan?
Well, they paint a pretty inspiring picture. The plan states that winning the AI race will usher in a new golden age of human flourishing, economic competitiveness, and national security for the American people.
A new golden age. That's ambitious.
It is. And they break it down further. They talk about 3 simultaneous revolutions AI is expected to spark, like a trifecta of transformation.
3 revolutions. Okay, what are they?
First, a new industrial revolution. Think AI discovering new materials, synthesizing chemicals, making drugs faster, harnessing energy in new ways, really fundamental stuff.
Oh, okay. Number 1. What's 2?
Second, an information revolution. This means radically new forms of education, maybe personalized learning that actually works, new ways of consuming media, communicating.
Changing how we learn and interact. And the third?
The third they call a true renaissance. AI helping unravel ancient scrolls, driving breakthroughs in science and math theory, maybe even creating entirely new forms of art, both digital and physical.
Industrial, information, and renaissance. All at once. That's quite the pitch. It's definitely designed to rally support for a massive national effort.
Absolutely. And the document frames it like this: an opportunity that's both inspiring and humbling, and it is ours to seize or to lose. It really emphasizes the stakes.
So how do they plan to actually do all this, achieve this monumental vision?
Well, the structure is built around 3 main pillars. It gives a clear framework for these huge goals.
Right, the 3 pillars, I remember those. It's innovation, infrastructure, and international diplomacy and security.
Exactly. But crucially, running through all 3 are some core principles. These are meant to guide the whole strategy.
Okay, guiding principles, like what?
Well, first, there's a very strong emphasis on a worker-first agenda. The plan really stresses that American workers and families need to directly benefit from AI.
How so?
It talks about creating high-paying jobs, making sure AI complements work rather than just replacing it. The idea is boosting the standard of living for everyone through these breakthroughs, focusing on skills and new opportunities.
That's a really critical point. Addresses a lot of the public anxiety around AI and jobs. What's the next principle?
The second one is about objective truth and free speech. This one's interesting. It says AI systems need to be free from ideological bias. Meaning when you ask an AI for facts or analysis, it should aim for objective truth rather than social engineering agendas. It reflects the huge role they see AI playing in education, media, the need for trustworthy, unbiased tools.
Right. So making sure the AI itself isn't pushing an agenda.
Got it.
And the third principle.
And finally, a clear focus on preventing misuse. The plan acknowledges, look, we need constant vigilance against bad actors trying to steal or misuse this tech, and also watching out for unforeseen risks from the AI itself.
So being proactive about the downsides.
Exactly. Recognizing its powerful dual-use technology, you have to guard against the negative potential.
So worker benefits, objective truth, preventing misuse, all guiding this massive effort.
Yeah, it's presented as a comprehensive approach. And they wrap up this whole introductory part with a really declarative statement. The AI race is America's to win, and this action plan is our roadmap to victory.
Sets the stage very clearly. Okay, let's get into the first pillar then. Pillar 1, accelerate AI innovation.
Okay, pillar 1, accelerate AI innovation. This seems like where the real engine of the plan is, making sure the U.S. is developing the most advanced AI.
Absolutely. The core goal here is ambitious. It's not just about having the most powerful AI systems, but leading in their, quote, creative and transformative application.
And how does the government fit in? Are they building the AI?
Not directly. The plan positions the federal government's role as creating the conditions for private sector innovation to thrive. Basically, get out of the way and let the private sector lead the charge, but make sure the environment is right.
Okay, so creating the right conditions. Sure. And the first step they list is removing red tape and onerous regulation.
Yes. The plan is very explicit about this. It says, bureaucratic red tape smothers AI innovation early on. And they mention specific actions.
Oh, yeah. They point to rescinding a previous executive order, Biden's EO 14110 on AI, which they argue foreshadowed an onerous regulatory regime. They see removing that as a key step already taken.
So less regulation is step 1. What else?
Well, it kicks off a broad effort to cut hurdles. Agencies like OSTP, OMB, even the FCC and FTC are tasked with finding and killing regulations seen as slowing down AI development.
Killing regulations, so.
For instance, OMB is told to make agencies consider a state's AI regulatory climate when handing out federal funds.
Wow, really? So states with stricter AI rules might get less funding?
That seems to be the implication. It sends a very clear signal. Deregulation is job one. They want a faster, less restricted environment for AI development, letting the private sector move at top speed.
So speed things up by cutting rules. But the plan also talks about the kind of AI being developed, right? Under ensuring frontier AI protects free speech and American values.
Yes, this is a really important ideological piece of the plan. It ties into that earlier principle about objective truth. The concern is AI's huge role in education and media, so they want systems built with free speech in mind, avoiding government interference.
How do they plan to ensure that?
Through specific actions. NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, is directed to revise its AI risk management framework to, quote, eliminate references to misinformation, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and climate change.
Eliminate those references.
Okay. And federal procurement guidelines will be updated. The government will only contract with large language model developers who guarantee their systems are objective and free from top-down ideological bias.
So government contracts depend on this perceived neutrality.
Essentially. And NIST's Center for AI Standards and Innovation, KSIs, is even tasked with researching and evaluating Chinese AI models to see if they align with, quote, Chinese Communist Party talking points and censorship.
Wow. So it's really about shaping AI to reflect specific American values, promoting a certain definition of objectivity. Huge implications there for development and deployment.
Definitely. It's a major component.
Okay, next up in the innovation pillar. Encouraging open source and open weight AI. What's the thinking there?
The plan highlights the value of open models. Good for innovation, helps startups, useful for companies or government dealing with sensitive data. Plus, good for academics who need access to the inner workings, the weights, and training data. They even mention geostrategic value.
Strategic value.
Yeah.
How so?
Well, if American open models become widely adopted globally, that spreads American influence and standards.
Ah, I see. So what actions are they taking to encourage this?
They want to create a supportive environment.
Yeah.
One key thing is ensuring access to large-scale computing power for startups and academics. They talk about improving the financial market for compute, maybe like spot markets for GPU time, making it easier to access.
Interesting, like trading compute power like a commodity.
Kind of, yeah. They also plan to partner with tech companies to give researchers access to private sector computing resources through the NSF's NRR pilot program, that's the National AI Research Resource, and build a lean and sustainable operational capability for NRR.
So more access to the hardware needed.
Right. And the National Telecommunications and Information Administration, NTIA, is supposed to get stakeholders together to push adoption of open source models by small and medium businesses. It's about fostering innovation, democratizing AI a bit, but keeping it grounded in American values.
Makes sense. Okay, what about actually using the AI? The plan talks about enabling AI adoption. Sounds like there's a problem there.
Yeah, they identify a bottleneck. AI isn't being adopted fast enough, especially in big, established sectors. Think healthcare, energy.
Why not?
The plan points to things like distrust, complicated regulations, lack of clear governance structures within organizations.
So how do they want to fix that?
They want to create a try-first culture. One way is setting up regulatory sandboxes or maybe AI centers of excellence, places where researchers, startups, big companies can test AI tools quickly with support from agencies like the FDA or SEC and NIST helping with evaluations.
Sandboxes, like safe spaces to experiment.
Basically. They also call for efforts focused on specific sectors, healthcare, energy, agriculture, led by NIST. Get everyone in those fields together, speed up standards development, measure the productivity gains.
What about competitors?
Good point. The DoD and the intelligence community are tasked with regularly assessing how quickly competitors are adopting AI and making sure the U.S. keeps pace or stays ahead. It's about accelerating the practical use of AI across the board, industry and government, critical for the economy and national security.
Okay, now something really important for a lot of listeners, empowering American workers in the age of AI. How does the plan address the impact on jobs?
This is where that worker-first agenda really gets detailed. The vision is AI boosting productivity, creating new industries, complementing workers, not just replacing them, opening up pathways to opportunity.
And the specifics. How do they plan to empower workers?
Several ways. Federal departments, labor, education, commerce are told to prioritize AI skill development in their funding streams. So more money for AI skills in career and technical education, apprenticeships.
Training and upskilling.
Exactly. The Treasury Department is directed to issue guidance saying employers can likely get tax-free reimbursement for AI literacy and skill programs. That incentivizes companies to invest in training their people.
Okay, tax breaks for training. What else?
They're also tasking the Bureau of Labor Statistics and Census Bureau with studying AI's labor market impact adoption trends, job creation, displacement, wages. And they're setting up a dedicated AI workforce research hub under the Department of Labor to keep a close eye on this long term.
So studying the impact. What about people who do lose jobs to AI?
The Department of Labor is directed to use discretionary funds for rapid retraining programs. Proactively find workers who might be impacted, get them into new training quickly. Pilot new approaches for these workforce challenges. It's about ensuring workers are prepared and benefit from the AI economy, focusing on adaptability.
That sounds comprehensive. Okay, shifting gears slightly. Support next-generation manufacturing. What's the connection to AI here?
Well, the plan sees AI enabling a whole new wave of physical world innovations. Think autonomous drones, self-driving cars, advanced robotics. And the idea is the U.S. and its allies need to be world-class at manufacturing these things.
Not just inventing them, but building them here.
Precisely. It ties into that new industrial renaissance idea. Actions involve federal agencies like DoD, Commerce, Energy, NSF, investing in developing and scaling up the necessary manufacturing technologies, using programs like SBIR, STTR, CHIPS funding, Defense Production Act authorities.
So funding the manufacturing tech.
Right. And the NTIA is tasked with getting industry and government together to figure out supply chain challenges for American robotics and drone manufacturing. It's strategic, ensuring the U.S. leads not just in AI software, but in the robots, the drones, the physical stuff AI enables. Big defense and national security implications, too.
Makes sense. Now, how about science itself? Invest in AI-enabled science.
This is fascinating. The plan basically says AI is fundamentally changing how science is done. It's already generating protein structures, finding new materials, and showing promise in even forming hypotheses and designing experiments.
So AI is a research partner almost.
Essentially, yes.
Yep.
So the plan calls for critical changes in how science operates. Federal partners like NSF, DOE, NIST are directed to invest in automated, cloud-enabled cloud labs for fields like engineering, materials, science, chemistry, biology, neuroscience.
Automated labs.
Yeah, speeding up experiments dramatically. They also want to support focused research organizations using AI for big breakthroughs, and crucially, incentivize researchers to release more high-quality data sets publicly.
Data again.
Exactly, and federally funded researchers will have to disclose non-proprietary, non-sensitive data sets used by their AI models. It's about accelerating science by embedding AI right into the research process and infrastructure.
Which leads perfectly into the next point. Build world-class scientific data sets. You mentioned data is key.
Absolutely critical. The plan calls high-quality data a national strategic asset. It notes that adversaries are already hoarding vast amounts of scientific data. So the U.S. needs to lead in creating the world's biggest and best AI-ready scientific data sets.
But what about privacy and rights?
They explicitly mention maintaining respect for individual rights, civil liberties, privacy, confidentiality. It's a balancing act.
So how do they plan to build these data sets?
Specific actions include directing the National Science and Technology Council, NSTC, to recommend minimum data quality standards for scientific data used in AI training. OMB will issue regulations to make accessing federal data easier while still protecting confidentiality.
Easier access to government data.
Plus, establishing secure computing environments within NSF and DOE, places where researchers can use restricted federal data for AI projects securely, and creating an online portal for NSF's National Secure Data Service pilot project.
And you mentioned a really interesting one earlier.
Oh yeah, the genome sequencing. The plan suggests exploring a whole genome sequencing program for life on federal lands, led by the NSTC. The idea is this new data would be incredibly valuable for training future biological AI models.
Wow. Sequencing life on federal lands. That's ambitious.
It is. The whole push is about creating massive, high-quality, AI-ready data sets, recognizing data as a cornerstone of AI dominance while trying to manage the ethical considerations.
Okay, data is covered. What about the fundamental AI research itself? Advance the science of AI.
It's a straightforward but crucial. The U.S. must remain the leading pioneer of AI breakthroughs. We don't know what the next big paradigm shift will be after large language models, so we need to be the ones discovering it.
And the action.
Prioritize investment. Theoretical, computational, experimental research. Pour resources into discovering the next big thing. This will be a major focus in the upcoming National AI R&D Strategic Plan. It's about staying ahead of the curve, driving the next wave.
Got it. Now, a more technical challenge. Invest in AI interpretability, control, and robustness breakthroughs. What's this about?
This tackles a big problem. We often don't fully understand why frontier AI models make the decisions they do. It's a black box problem.
Right, explainability.
Exactly. And if you can't explain it, it's hard to predict behavior. That's risky, especially for high-stakes uses like defense or national security, where lives could be on the line.
So how do they plan to make AI less of a black box?
DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, is launching a new tech development program. They'll collaborate with KSI at the Department of Commerce and the NSF to push forward AI interpretability, develop better control systems for AI, and make them more robust against attacks.
DARPA getting involved usually means serious focus.
It does. These advancements will also be prioritized in that National AI R&D Strategic Plan. Plus, they're coordinating an AI hackathon initiative. Get top minds from U.S. universities to really stress test AI systems, check their transparency, effectiveness, control mechanisms, security vulnerabilities.
Hackathons to find weaknesses.
Yeah, it's all about building trust and reliability, making AI safer and more controllable for those critical applications. Understand the why behind AI decisions.
Makes sense. Related to that is build an AI evaluations ecosystem. How is this different from interpretability?
This is more about standardized testing, Rigorous evaluations to assess performance and reliability, especially for AI used in regulated industries like healthcare or finance. You need consistent ways to measure if an AI system actually works as intended and is safe.
So developing the benchmarks and tests.
Right. NIST, including its AI assessor, will publish guidelines and resources for federal agencies to run their own evaluations for their specific needs and legal compliance. Federal science agencies will also fund research into the actual science of measuring and evaluating AI models.
The science of measurement.
Okay. HEASI will hold meetings for agencies and researchers to share best practices on evaluations. And importantly, DOE and NSF will invest in AI testbeds, secure, real-world settings where AI can be piloted in sectors like agriculture, transportation, healthcare.
Real-world testing grounds.
Yeah. And DOC will bring together the NIST AI Consortium to work on establishing new measurement science collaboratively. The goal is standardizing how we assess AI, building confidence for wider adoption.
Okay, lots on the development side. What about using AI within the government? Accelerate AI adoption in government.
The argument here is that AI can help the government serve the public far greater efficiency and effectiveness. Think speeding up slow internal processes, streamlining how people interact with agencies.
And how are they accelerating adoption?
Well, the plan notes that OMB already reduced some rules seen as burdensome from the previous administration. Now they're formalizing the Chief Artificial Intelligence Officer Council, the CAIOC, as the main hub for interagency coordination on AI adoption.
A central council.
Right. Also, a talent exchange program to move specialized AI talent between agencies more easily. The General Services Administration, GSA, will create an AI procurement toolbox, basically, making it easier for any agency to choose and buy AI models uniformly.
Standardizing procurement.
And here's a big one. Mandating that federal employees whose jobs could benefit must have access to and training on frontier language models.
Wow, mandatory access and training for federal workers.
Yeah, it signals a significant push to transform internal government processes and public interactions, making government potentially much more responsive by leveraging AI internally.
Okay, and a specific focus within government. Drive adoption of AI within the Department of Defense.
Yeah.
Obviously critical.
Absolutely. The imperative is stated bluntly: maintain global military preeminence. AI is seen as transforming both warfighting and the back office stuff at DoD.
What are the specific actions for the military?
Identifying the talent and skills needed in the DoD workforce for AI at scale, then implementing training programs. Establishing an AI and autonomous systems virtual proving ground, basically a digital sandbox for military AI.
A virtual proving ground.
Developing a streamlined process to figure out which workflows within DoD are best suited for AI automation, and then transitioning them quickly. Prioritizing agreements with cloud providers for guaranteed access to computing power during national emergencies.
Priority compute access. That's key.
And encouraging senior military colleges to become hubs for AI research, development, and talent, even building AI-specific curriculum. It's a comprehensive strategy to weave AI into every part of the military.
All this innovation needs protection, though, which brings us to protect commercial and government AI innovations. How do they balance sharing tech with keeping it secure?
That's the tightrope walk. The plan stresses close collaboration between government and industry. DoD, DHS, KISI, the intelligence community need to work with leading American AI developers to help the private sector protect their innovations.
Protect against what?
Cyber threats, insider threats. Basically, safeguarding America's lead in AI tech and intellectual property, making sure the innovation fostered doesn't end up helping adversaries.
And one last specific threat under innovation. Combat synthetic media in the legal system. Deepfakes in court.
Yeah, the risk is malicious deepfakes, audio, video, photos creating novel challenges to the legal system. Imagine fake evidence being used to obstruct justice.
That's scary. What's the plan?
The plan notes President Trump already signed the Take Ike Down Act about non-consensual deepfakes, but more is needed for the legal system itself. NIST might develop its Guardians of Forensic Evidence deepfake evaluation program into a formal guideline and a voluntary benchmark for forensics.
A benchmark for detecting fakes.
Right. And the Department of Justice is told to issue guidance to agencies involved in adjudications, exploring a deepfake standard similar to one proposed for the Federal Rules of Evidence. It's about equipping courts and law enforcement to handle AI-generated media, making sure justice isn't derailed by convincing fakes.
Okay, that's a massive amount under Pillar First, innovation. Everything from deregulation to worker training to deepfake detection. But all this AI needs power and hardware. 3, Pillar 2, build American AI infrastructure.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here, the plan basically says AI is the first digital service in modern life that really challenges America to build vastly more energy generation than we currently have.
Vastly more energy.
Yeah. So connecting this to the bigger picture, infrastructure is absolutely foundational to winning this AI race they're talking about.
And the goal for this pillar?
Build and maintain the massive AI infrastructure needed, data centers, chip fabs, and crucially, the energy to power it all. And they explicitly say this means rejecting radical climate dogma and bureaucratic red tape. The mantra is pretty direct.
Let me guess. Build, baby, build.
You got it. That phrase really captures the urgency. The plan points out America's energy capacity has stagnated since the 70s, while China has been rapidly building out its grid. They see changing that trend as critical for AI dominance.
So how do they plan to build faster? What's the strategy?
The first big action is create streamlined permitting for data centers, semiconductor manufacturing facilities, and energy infrastructure while guaranteeing security.
Streamlined permitting, back to cutting red tape.
Very much so. The argument is the current environmental permitting system makes it almost impossible to build this infrastructure with the speed that is required. They also want to make sure adversaries can't sneak their tech into this critical infrastructure.
So faster building, but secure building. What are the mechanisms?
They're building on past reforms, but adding new things, like establishing new categorical exclusions under NEPA, the National Environmental Policy Act, specifically for data center projects. That basically fast-tracks the environmental reviews.
Okay, fast-tracking reviews.
Expanding the use of the FAST T41 process to cover all data center and related energy projects. Exploring a nationwide Clean Water Act Section 404 permit just for data centers. Streamlining rules under the Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, Circle A.
Sounds like a major overhaul of environmental regs for these projects.
It does. Plus, making federal lands available for building data centers and power generation, but critically, maintaining security guardrails. Prohibiting adversaries from inserting sensitive tech, ensuring the domestic AI computing stack uses American products, free from foreign adversary tech.
And using AI to speed up reviews.
Yes, expanding efforts like DOE's Permit AI project, using AI itself to accelerate and improve environmental reviews. It's a very aggressive push to clear the path for construction factories, data centers, power plants, all deemed vital for AI dominance, while keeping it secure.
Okay, permits streamlined. What about the power grid itself? Develop a grid to match the pace of AI innovation? You said we need vastly more power.
Right. The grid is called the lifeblood of the modern economy, but the plan admits it's stagnated since the 70s, unlike China's. So upgrading and expanding it is crucial for supporting data centers and other energy-hungry industries.
How do they plan to upgrade the grid?
It's a multi-phase strategy. First, stabilize the grid of today, stop critical power plants from closing prematurely, explore using existing backup power sources more effectively.
Okay, stabilize first. Then,
Second, optimize existing grid resources. Use advanced grid management tech, upgrade power lines. Find ways for big power users like data centers to manage their consumption during peak times to avoid straining the grid.
be smarter with what we have.
Exactly. And third, prioritize interconnection of reliable, dispatchable power sources much faster. And embrace new energy generation. They mention enhanced geothermal, nuclear fission, and even nuclear fusion. Plus, reforming power markets to incentivize stability.
Fusion. Wow. Okay, so a big push on energy generation and grid modernization.
Absolutely. It's seen as fundamental. You can't have AI dominance without a powerful, reliable, affordable grid.
Makes sense. Now the actual chips. Restore American semiconductor manufacturing, bringing chip making back home.
Yes, the goal is jobs, tech leadership, and securing the supply chain. Action Center on the Department of Commerce's revamped CHIP CS program office. The focus is on getting a strong return on investment for taxpayers and removing extraneous policy requirements from CHIPS-funded projects.
Fewer strings attached to the funding.
Seems like it. Also, DOC and other agencies collaborating to streamline regulations that slow down building semiconductor plants. And DOC reviewing its grant programs to speed up integrating AI tools into semiconductor manufacturing itself.
Using AI to make better chips faster.
That seems to be the idea.
Yeah.
Revitalize the U.S. chip industry, cut reliance on foreign rivals, secure that absolutely critical piece of the AI puzzle.
Okay, chips secured. What about data centers for really sensitive stuff? Build high-security data centers for military and intelligence community usage.
This is crucial because the plan anticipates AI being used with the government's most sensitive data, especially raw intelligence. So these data centers need to be rock solid against attack.
Impervious.
That's the goal. Actions involve DoD, the intelligence community, IC, the National Security Council, NSC, and NIST working with industry to create new technical standards specifically for high-security AI data centers.
New security standards.
And pushing agencies to adopt classified compute environments that can handle scalable, secure AI workloads. It's all about ensuring that when AI touches sensitive data, it's protected against even sophisticated nation-state attacks, prioritizing security and data integrity.
All this building needs workers, though. We touched on AI skills, but what about the infrastructure itself? Train a skilled workforce for AI infrastructure.
Right. The plan points out critical shortages, electricians, advanced HVAC techs, lots of other well-paying jobs needed to physically build, operate, and maintain all this new AI infrastructure.
So how do they fill those jobs?
It's about building the human capital. DOL and DOC are launching a national initiative to identify the highest priority jobs needed, develop national skill frameworks for them.
National skill standard.
Yeah. Federal agencies partnering with state and local governments to support industry-driven training programs designed with employers so people are job-ready. Expanding early career exposure in middle and high schools, getting kids interested in these jobs, providing pathways into training and registered apprenticeships.
Building the pipeline.
Exactly. Can't build the infrastructure without the skilled hands to do it.
Okay, infrastructure workforce addressed. Back to security. Bolster critical infrastructure cybersecurity. How does AI play into this?
It's a double-edged sword. AI can be used for cyber offense and defense. So as AI gets better at coding, the threat landscape changes. Critical infrastructure owners, often with limited resources, need robust defenses.
So what's the plan to bolster defenses?
Establishing an AI Information Sharing and Analysis Center, an AI ISAC led by DHS, get critical infrastructure sectors sharing info about AI-specific security threats.
Sharing threat intel.
Right. DHS will also issue guidance to the private sector on fixing and responding to AI vulnerabilities, and ensure government agencies share known AI vulnerability info smoothly with the private sector. It's about strengthening defenses against new AI-enabled threats.
And related to that, promote secure by design AI technologies and applications, building security in from the start.
Precisely. AI systems can be vulnerable to adversarial attacks like data poisoning or privacy attacks. The government feels responsible for ensuring the AI it relies on, especially for national security, is protected against bad inputs.
How do they promote secure by design?
DoD, working with NIST and OD&I, will keep refining its responsible AI and generative AI frameworks and toolkits. OD&I will publish an intelligence community standard on AI assurance. It's about making AI resilient and secure from the ground up, especially for sensitive applications.
And what if something does go wrong? Promote mature federal capacity for AI incident response, planning for failures.
Yeah, prudent planning. As AI becomes more widespread, systems might fail. You need plans to minimize the impact on critical services or infrastructure and respond quickly.
What does that involve?
NIST is partnering with the AI and cybersecurity industries to include AI in incident response standards, frameworks, and technical capabilities. CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, will update its incident response playbooks to include AI considerations.
Updating the playbooks.
And encouraging responsible sharing of AI vulnerability information, building on an existing executive order, basically preparing both government and the private sector for AI-related incidents, having robust response plans ready.
Okay, that wraps up Pillar 2 on an infrastructure.
Yeah.
A massive push on building and powering everything needed for AI dominance. But AI isn't just domestic. 4. Pillar 3. Lead in international AI diplomacy and security. All right, Pillar 3. This is where it gets really global, doesn't it? The international stage. The plan says it's not enough just to win at home. America needs to drive adoption of American AI systems, hardware, standards all around the world.
That's the core goal for this pillar, yeah. Leverage America's current lead in things like data centers, compute hardware, AI models, and turn that into an enduring global alliance. But crucially, also prevent adversaries from, quote, free riding on our innovation and investment.
Free riding, meaning using U.S. tech against U.S. interests.
Essentially, yes. Or just benefiting without contributing to the cost and effort. So it's about securing America's global tech preeminence and shaping the international AI landscape in its favor.
How do they plan to do that? First step seems to be export American AI to allies and partners.
This is a really proactive strategy. The plan says the U.S. must meet global demand for AI by exporting the full AI technology stack. Hardware, models, software applications, standards, export it to any country willing to join this America's AI alliance.
The full stack, so basically offering a complete AI solution.
That's the idea. It's designed to stop allies from turning to rivals, like China, if the U.S. doesn't meet their AI needs. Actions include setting up a program within the Department of Commerce to gather proposals from industry groups for these full-stack AI export packages.
Industry proposing export packages.
Yeah. And once they're selected, agencies like the Trade and Development Agency, the Export-Import Bank, would coordinate with Commerce to facilitate deals, making sure they meet U.S. security requirements and standards. It's about solidifying a U.S.-led global AI ecosystem, making American AI the de facto global standard by being the main supplier.
Very strategic. But what about shaping the rules internationally? The plan talks about countering Chinese influence in international governance bodies. What's the concern there?
The concern is that various international bodies, UN, OECD, G7, G20, ITU, are working on AI governance frameworks. But the U.S. worries these could lead to burdensome regulations or promote vague codes of conduct that promote cultural agendas that do not align with American values, or be influenced by Chinese companies trying to shape standards for things like facial recognition and surveillance in their favor.
So how does the U.S. plan to push back?
The State Department and Commerce Department are directed to vigorously advocate for international AI governance approaches that, 1, promote innovation, 2, reflect American values, and 3, counter authoritarian influence, especially on those sensitive standards like facial recognition and surveillance.
Actively shaping the global rules.
Exactly, pushing back against what they see as undesirable regulations or ideological drift.
Okay, shaping rules. What about controlling the tech itself? Strengthen AI, compute export control enforcement, denying adversaries access to advanced chips.
Yes, this is framed as absolutely critical for geostrategic competition and national security. They need to stop advanced AI compute power from getting into the wrong hands.
How? Export controls are notoriously tricky.
The plan calls for creative approaches. DOC, OSTP, NSC working with industry to explore using location verification features on the chips themselves to make sure they aren't ending up in countries of concern.
Location tracking on chips.
That seems to be the idea they're exploring. Also, a new effort led by DOC, collaborating with the intelligence community, on global chip export control enforcement. Monitoring new tech developments to make sure controls cover everything, expanding end-use monitoring, especially in high-risk countries, creative ways to track and control where these critical resources go.
And they specifically mention plugging loopholes in existing semiconductor manufacturing export controls. What's the loophole?
The issue identified is that while the U.S. and allies control many major systems for making chips, they do not control many of the component subsystems.
So adversaries might get the smaller parts and piece things together.
That's the concern. So DSC is tasked with developing new export controls, specifically targeting those semiconductor manufacturing subsystems. It's about closing those gaps, preventing adversaries from using U.S. innovations piece by piece to undermine national security. A more comprehensive blockade on the manufacturing tech.
Very detailed control measures. And this extends to allies, right? Aligning protection measures globally.
Yes, this is crucial. Encourage partners and allies to adopt similar controls and, importantly, not backfill, meaning not supply the tech that the U.S. is restricting. The plan even mentions using tools like the Foreign Direct Product Rule or secondary tariffs if allies don't cooperate.
So using economic leverage if needed.
Potentially. Actions include DOC and state developing and sharing complementary tech protection measures with allies, covering everything from basic research to higher education to mitigate risks from adversaries. State will develop a technology diplomacy strategic plan for an AI global alliance to ensure allies adopt matching protection systems and export controls across the whole supply chain.
A unified tech control alliance.
That's the goal. Expanding initiatives for plurilateral controls agreements between select groups of countries rather than relying solely on slower multilateral treaty bodies, creating a unified front to control sensitive AI tech globally.
Okay, controlling the tech flow. What about understanding the risks of the most advanced AI? Ensure that the U.S. government is at the forefront of evaluating national security risks and frontier models.
This addresses the fear that the most powerful AI, the frontier models, could pose novel national security risks. Things like enabling sophisticated cyber attacks, helping design CBRNE weapons, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear explosives, or having hidden vulnerabilities.
And the thinking is, since the U.S. leads, its models show the risks adversaries might have soon.
Exactly. Understanding these risks early is vital for defense. So actions involve KSI at DOC, working with other agencies expert in CBRNE and cyber risks, evaluating U.S. frontier AI models for these national security dangers in partnership with the developers.
Working with the AI labs.
Yes, and KSI with national security agencies will also evaluate potential vulnerabilities or malign foreign influence in adversaries' AI systems, especially if they get into critical infrastructure, looking for backdoors, for example.
Evaluating enemy AI too.
Right, and prioritizing recruitment of top AI researchers into federal agencies like NIST, CAICI, DOE, DOD, the IC, so the government has the expertise to do these cutting-edge evaluations, proactively understanding and mitigating the most advanced AI threats.
And finally, a very specific but critical risk area. Invest in biosecurity, AI, and biology.
Yeah, this highlights that double-edged sword again. AI could unlock amazing potential in biology, new cures, new industrial uses, but it could also give malicious actors new ways to synthesize dangerous pathogens or biomolecules.
So preventing AI-enabled bioweapons.
That's the core concern. The plan proposes a multi-tiered approach. Screening for malicious actors, plus new tools for better screening. Requiring institutions getting federal funds to only use nucleic acid synthesis tools and providers that have robust screening and customer verification. No more just voluntary promises.
Mandatory screening for DNA synthesis.
OSTP will convene government and industry to develop ways for synthesis providers to share data to screen for fraudulent or malicious customers trying to hop between providers. And the government will build and maintain national security AI evaluations specifically for biosecurity risks, involving KSI, security agencies, and research institutions.
Comprehensive approach to biorisks.
Yeah, trying to prevent misuse from research labs to commercial synthesis and working with allies to get international adoption of these kinds of controls as they mature.
Wow. Okay, this plan, it is incredibly detailed. It's ambitious. It covers so much ground: innovation, deregulation, infrastructure, energy, alliances, export controls, security evaluations. It's truly comprehensive. Outro. So what does all this mean for you? Well, we've just spent time taking a really deep dive into America's AI action plan. And you can see it lays out a truly monumental scope for the U.S. government's approach to artificial intelligence.
Yeah, we've seen the vision across accelerating innovation at home, building absolutely vast new infrastructure, and then leading internationally in diplomacy and security. It touches almost everything.
And this deep dive, hopefully, has given you a really comprehensive understanding of how the government under this plan intends to tackle the AI revolution. Our goal is always to get you well informed on these topics that are, frankly, going to define our future.
And you can really see the meticulous detail, the strategic foresight in this plan. It's clearly aiming to orchestrate a full-scale national effort, driving towards a very specific vision of AI dominance.
Right. It's clear this isn't just framed as technological progress. It's framed as a geopolitical imperative, a race.
Which leads us to that final provocative thought for you, the listener, to mull over. Given the sheer scale and ambition here, this explicit framing as a race for unquestioned and unchallenged global technological dominance, what are the long-term global implications?
Yeah, not just for tech advancement, but for international cooperation versus competition in this AI era. How might this intense drive for dominance end up shaping the ethical questions, the universal accessibility of AI around the world? Something to think about.
This was the GIST podcast. If you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe to this channel.